It is 1911, and the Ottoman Empire is struggling to navigate a world on the brink of chaotic change. As European modernity surges, a deep crisis of confidence is beginning to take hold across the Muslim world. This era was defined by a paralyzing binary. Many felt forced to choose between abandoning their faith to embrace modern science or rejecting scientific inquiry entirely to shield their religious identity. Bediüzzaman Said Nursî looked at this intellectual paralysis and offered a different diagnosis. He argued that the religion wasn't the problem. The problem was that people had become obsessed with its outer shell while neglecting its rational core. He saw an intellectual tradition that had become encrusted with contaminants, unreliable historical folklore known as Israeliyat, the uncritical adoption of Greek philosophy, and a habit of reading metaphors as literal facts were all obscuring the original clarity of the faith. Traditional educational models had no answer for this. By focusing on rote memorization and rigid literalism, they failed to address these creeping intellectual threats. To Nursî, the decline of the Muslim world was a crisis of methodology. The tools people were using to interpret revelation were no longer functioning. In response, he wrote the book Muhâkemât, The Reasonings. He framed the book as an ulema recitesi, a specific, urgent prescription for the scholars of his time. His goal was not to add new tenets to Islam, but to strip away centuries of misunderstanding and provide a new framework for how a believer should think. The book is organized into 3 distinct pillars: truth, eloquence, and creed. Together, they form a logical progression designed to rebuild religious understanding from the ground up. The first pillar is haqiqat, the element of truth. Here, Nursî addresses the perceived conflict between reason and revelation. His argument is simple. Because the same God created human intellect and revealed the Quran, reason and genuine revelation cannot be in opposition. He establishes a clear protocol. If a proven rational fact seems to contradict a religious text, then reason must be the starting point, and the text must be reinterpreted by those with deep scholarly expertise. He points out that the Quran is not a science textbook. It mentions natural phenomena, like the movement of the stars or the growth of a cell, as signs meant to point toward a higher divine order. By establishing these rules, haqiqat prepares the mind, ensuring it is free from false contradictions before it even encounters the text. But having a clear mind is only half the battle. The second pillar, balaghat, explains that how we read is just as important as what we read. The Quran's language is layered, designed to speak to a 7th century audience and a modern scientist simultaneously. But Nursî warns, when a metaphor passes from knowledge into ignorance, it's taken literally. This error sparks superstition. By teaching the importance of rhetoric and context, Muhâkemât provides a defense against this kind of intellectual corruption. In this way, balaghat serves as a linguistic filter, protecting the depth of divine meaning from being flattened by human misunderstanding. Finally, we reach the third pillar, aqidah, the element of creed. With a purified mind and the proper linguistic tools, a person can finally approach the core of belief. For Nursî, faith is not a blind leap. It is a conclusion supported by the evidence of the physical universe and the requirements of human nature. He presents the character and the message of the prophet not just as a matter of history, but as a living, logical proof of the truth of the revelation. In this system, true faith becomes the natural result of a disciplined, rational inquiry. This focus on methodology led Nursî to a startlingly modern conclusion. He called for a new kind of Quranic commentary suited for the scientific age. He realized that human knowledge had become too vast for any single person to master. No lone scholar could be an expert in all the modern sciences required to fully explain the Quran today. His solution was a council of specialists, experts from different scientific and theological fields working together through consultation to produce a unified interpretation. Today, Muhâkemât serves as a guide for navigating the tension between secular materialism and anti-intellectual forms of religion. Ultimately, Nursî's work shifts the focus from what to think to how to think. It remains a clear demonstration that a disciplined mind is the most powerful tool a believer can possess.